We on? Because you don't give me any cues. You're supposed to be. You're supposed to wear a lot of hats here. Literally a lot of hats.
So far, both shows have started with "Are we on?"
Yeah, but what? I'm not Jerry Lewis.
I'm not Andy Kindler.
Are we on? Is that your impression of me?
That was you.
Are we on? Josh, are people, do you think people notice that we're both Jews?
I don't think it's coming through.
I don't think so. Look, let's not make that the main thing.
Okay.
It's a mitzvah. It will be a mitzvah.
Let's desemitize.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't either.
Actually, I'm going to be the person. I'm
sinister.
It is sinister. Oh, I like that. We got a little Robert Altman thing going.
Yeah. The overlapping talk.
If you hear a chewing sound, which I'm not going to turn around because of my mic. I really work in the mic there. Who's the doggy who's here?
That's Lucky, the dog over there in the kitchen.
Lucky. Wow, you really pulled out one stop with the names.
That's the name she came with.
What do you mean? The dogs don't come with names.
They do come with names.
This is my new in your face.
They
podcast.
do come with names. If they're old enough, they come with names, and then you're just betraying them by changing their name when you get them.
Really? Okay. Well. Oh, that is so interesting. Not that interesting, and I shouldn't say it's interesting because I don't want to. I keep saying these are the things you should never say. I have a really funny story, and this is a very interesting story.
Right.
But I got a cat. It was George, named after Curious George. But we got it from the shelter, and it said, "Hi, this is Lucky." His mother was Misty.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Thank you. You're very nice people, but we'll take it from here."
Right. But cats are different. Cats, you could just name the sound of a can opener, and you're going to get the same exact thing.
Oh, I see. Is this one of your dog-cat arguments that we're going to become famous for?
I think that's what's going to draw the people in, I think.
Are you saying cats aren't as important as dogs, or they don't respond as well to names?
I think names are less important to cats than dogs.
I was just thinking about our good friend, Joel Madison. I don't know why I'm saying as if we're a network show. He's a friend of the show.
Friend.
A friend of the show, Joel Madison, used to say that in the 80s, Seinfeld always had, and the couch is thinking, inanimate objects.
Right.
And the door's going. Now, I don't know if that's true, but we enjoyed it.
It was a funny generalization, as we like to say in the business.
Well, Josh won't do this because he has called me up and said, look, I'm not your trained monkey. I'm not your, sidekick. I'm not your Ed McMahon. And I said, what of those last three things what's the problem? What's the downside?
I'm perfectly happy to be a second banana. You can't
even fake laugh.
No, I can't. It's true. I can't even give it up. You're the.
Is that what everybody thinks of as the fake laugh? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Because that's what Phil Hartman did.
Oh, well, he did it, but he was taking off on Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
You mean, what was he doing?
Phil Hartman was doing Ed McMahon to Dana Carvey's
that's
Johnny
right.
Carson.
Because I always think of the one from SCTV, which is also good, too.
Yeah, probably better, really.
No, we're not going to. Now, look, we're going to have some big debates coming up.
Cats, dogs, SCTV.
Cats, dogs, SCTV, Saturday Night Live. Also, your favorite, Ginger or Marianne.
Why not both? Why they're both there?
No, you see,
there was never any chance to separate them.
I would have slept. Here's the way I was when I was a kid. I would have slept with every woman I saw in the comic books.
Right. Lovey or
Mary Worth. I was hot for. You don't remember her?
Sure.
She was hot. First of all, she didn't show it all. That's what I loved about her.
Well, and she talked, and every sentence was exclamation points, if I remember, too. So that I could see why that would turn you on.
But that was like a fake thing. It didn't really exist, like a dream that we read that, right? There's no way that could have continued.
Like Judge Parker, I think, was all exclamation points, too.
Or I mean that there was a Mary Worth.
What do you mean?
I don't believe there was a Mary. What world are we living in where the things were so slow-moving that people would want a 4-panel... Dear.
like a comic drama in the morning. I like a good slow-moving day at a time, one sentence at a time drama.
Oh, dear, please bring your plate into the kitchen.
It's like reading a novel in fortune cookies.
Hey, don't give them any ideas. I don't know why I said that exactly.
That's okay. It was a good transition to nothing.
But welcome to... Do you think we need to welcome people to the show or spend more time talking about how we should welcome people to the show?
No, I think it's cute how we do the little preamble there. It's like a cold open.
Well, it is.
Without a punchline.
Oh, let's do a cold open. You ready?
Okay.
Josh. Get up.
I can't, Andy.
Get up.
I can't do the show today, Andy.
Get up with the show.
I can't do the show today.
Josh, you promised we'd do the show.
I'm scared to do the show, Andy.
I'm coming right over there.
Okay, come over, but I'm not doing the show.
Right, now it's 10 minutes later, and you're snoring. Josh, I just...
What? I dreamed we had to do a show.
It's no wonder why you're not on a show right now, on a 1-hour drama.
It is truly no wonder.
And why I, with my work discipline.
That's right. You're a master.
Come on,
you're a master of craft.
The thing you just did.
Speaking of master of crafts, you are a master of being a podcast guest.
Yes, this is what I'm worried about. I'm very worried about our podcast, first of all, until right now.
Yeah.
This is the first day I felt that you brought something to the table.
Wow. Because I did a character. I committed to a character for you.
No, you see, there's a million different characters that live inside me. And one of them is like the guy who could be the sarcastic guy, like putting you down.
Yeah.
And you could do the same to me.
Oh,
but they don't wear.
Yeah.
But they don't wear well. But I will say this, and people will be very surprised to hear this, is that I've been very self-conscious about the podcast because I've never done one before. So a lot of the times during the podcast, I'm going, is this as good as my famous reputation as Andy Kindler podcast guest?
I know, it's a little bit of you're on a limb a little bit.
And then,
but, it's called commitment, Andy. It's time.
Well, I also, since I'm a big believer in being judgmental,
that's right.
I already can imagine. I've already imagined 30 or 40 reviews.
Oh, yeah, for sure. In fact, anyone who emails the show at thoughtspiralshow@gmail.com is going to be edited by me. There are lots of emails that Andy's never going to see.
Have you seen some already?
So no, this hasn't even played yet.
You haven't released our email? Where are you going to release our email?
It's on the show, but it's not. But we haven't. Today is the first time that the episode is actually people can download it the day we're posting it.
Okay.
The first 2 episodes were released last week, so people have.
I like this episode better, though.
People have heard the show after we've recorded this.
Yeah, but I like
this is our last time without feedback.
Right, but I think we should dump the first 2 shows.
Yeah, okay. Of course, you're always going to think that.
I know. If it was up to me, I wouldn't have ever had a career. That's not true.
No.
I'm very ambitious.
You are.
I just don't have a plan.
You always have a self-sabotage goal in mind.
Well, this week I've changed it up this week, Josh. I have a pen and a piece of paper.
Wow.
So when I start into writing or talking about something, and when I forget immediately, which I don't know what that's
But you
about.
already interrupted me is the thing. I brought up the topic of podcasts and you being a guest on
all right.
podcasts.
Okay, so
and then you just ripped it away.
All right, so you brought up the
spiraled away.
Okay, so now I'll be like if I was really like a co-host.
But I heard you on Bullseye today is what I was going to say. And I actually listened for some reason, knowing I was going to do this show with you tonight. I was actually practicing for the show. I was listening to you on the show going, just so I could get into the rhythm of the show.
All right,
tonight.
well, let me see if I can have a normal conversation. So you heard me on Bullseye?
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, that is a normal conversation.
Tell me more about my appearance.
It was fantastic. It was what I did like is that he played clips from your first state of the industry address.
Oh, this is like
and I got to hear your Leno impression back when it was like fresh and angry before it got bitter and lazy and cartoonish, just like Leno.
This is have to be. Can't you divide your? Can't you?
No,
divide
but it was
your,
like this is whatever it was 20 years ago. So and the Leno was like spot on. It was like not only it was like a good Leno impression.
Here's him.
Yeah,
was it like that?
It was better though. It was better. See, now it's cartoonized over the years. What I'm saying.
Good thing he didn't become cartoonish.
What I said. That's what I'm saying.
Is that what you just said?
I said it earlier. Yeah.
And I didn't hear it.
Yeah. You
so
not listen.
You might be coming up with funny things that I'm not hearing because all I'm thinking of is when's that guy going to stop and I can get my incredibly insightful thought across.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Just shows to go you. I'm also going to try and get a catchphrase for our show.
That's good. I think one every 10 minutes.
That's the spot, but that's thought spiraling.
So
now you heard me on this podcast, and that's where the pressure comes in. People know me
as a great podcast guest. I felt like I've done a lot of podcasts, but you've done a lot.
I think
of
I have done a
podcasts.
lot.
You've done every podcast. As
I've
far-
done so many that I really have, and I have been with like a 10-year-old kid who doesn't even the recording machine doesn't even work.
You've done and you do the big leagues and you do the AAA podcast. I pretty much do the AAA podcast. Which is how I've come up with what I feel about podcasts, which is a podcast is a great way to promote what you're doing to the person whose podcast it is.
Well, yeah, you're saying that's all it's gonna.
No, yes, please break it down.
That's what my expertise is. Taking the joke,
Right.
and because there's no studio audience,
Cracking it over your
there's
knee.
no studio audience. So what we need to do is I need to go back over the joke and explain why it was funny. But Josh isn't saying that like he means. But our podcast is very important. I think.
I think so. I think we're well on our way. Well on our way.
I think we're making the mistake that everybody who's had a podcast has made. First couple of weeks,
They
like,
talk
I don't
about-
know about this.
Right.
And then we're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. How's this not going to turn everything around for me? First of all, stop saying it's going to turn things around for me.
Okay. I'll stop being your hype man.
There's nothing wrong with where I am in my career.
No, it's good. I think it's time for you to come to peace with it, really.
Look at...
It's not going to get better.
No, wait a second. People might hear that and hear differently than when you mean it. You
Yeah.
mean that my age, which is we don't reveal anymore.
Spry.
This is when the jobs start to open up in show
Absolutely.
business.
If there's anything that show business loves, it's
Yes.
seasoning.
So, for example, there's got to be right now, who's Jonah Hill's dad going to be in
Right,
this movie?
exactly.
Why couldn't I be? Does Eugene Levy have to be the dad?
Not for much longer. If
Is he
you
okay?
No, I'm sure
Oh.
he's fine. No, would I make that joke if he was actually
That would
ill?
be so terrible.
That would be wrong.
I heard something.
Yeah, that's not how I roll.
He's very funny, Eugene Levy.
He is.
One time he was on Letterman. He said to Letterman that because he gets what are those things called?
Guest
Balls,
appearances? Oh, well.
kidney stones.
Uh-huh.
So he gets a lot of them.
Ouch.
And he went to the St. John's in Santa Monica, and he was just describing how great it is because they have valet parking. He's had like I guess 15 or 20 of these, so he knows the procedure. So he goes in. He says, "Give me a booth, not too close to the action." He says, and then he had named 2 drugs. One was morphine, and the other one I don't know what the other one was. He goes, "If you have it, fine." And he said that he was in there, and there's a TV in each little room there, like in the emergency area. And he told Dave that he watched Dave. He was on the high as a kite watching Dave interview Jerry Lewis, and he goes, "That's all I needed." And that's a story that I can really kind of like. I can relate to the whole thing. Being high, watching Jerry Lewis and Letterman. It's like King of Comedy.
So you can relate to being high and watching television. That's the part.
Yeah, well, look,
You
the thing is, I've been
glommed
around,
onto.
Josh. I've been
Yeah,
around.
It's nice that you're living it.
Yeah, I bring an international feel to the podcast. All right, first lull.
All right, that
ladies
was
and
good.
gentlemen. Now, Alex,
You fixed that.
take
wasn't
out
it?
the lulls. You know they have a new lull limiter.
Do that. That's
Yeah,
nice.
it just compresses the boredom.
Fantastic. It's rack mounted.
It is rack mounted. Now, podcasts. Many people say that we're behind the curve. Isn't that what you said?
I don't think we're behind the curve. I think we're way after the curve, really.
Right. But this is when the
Like
second.
I mean, the curve is beyond the horizon in our rearview mirror.
But we're not part of the .com boom.
No, I think we're in the podcast 2.0 wave.
Do you think 2.0 is ever a legitimate thing to say anymore? No.
No, it's really not.
It's
I mean,
old.
I feel like it ended just after I just used it, but I think it's over now. Yeah.
No, but you use it sarcastically.
I'm sure I did.
You were using
Yeah.
it facetiously.
Yes, I am.
I loved when I'm getting into it, and you know that I spend a lot of quality time arguing with people online.
I do know that.
I
yes.
love when I can use words that they may not know, but they're not great words, but they just make me feel self-satisfied in that moment.
That's good.
Like I go, they may not know what obsequious means.
Yeah.
So
and
for
then-
another reason to feel better than this guy.
And do you physically spike anything when you're doing that, or do you do a spin in the office chair with?
I always say when I'm home. It doesn't go on Twitter, but at home I always say, "Not in my house,
That's good.
not on my dime."
That's right. And you do the Dikembe Mutombo finger shake.
Oh, that's what he did, didn't he?
The finger
wasn't-
wag.
Right? Didn't he never win a title though?
No, I don't think you never did. He won a Defensive Player of the Year title, though.
He was tall, that guy. I like him too. He's also
and he talk like this.
Yeah, that's true. Now, what do we do when my mind goes blank? You have everything. You have our agenda down, right?
When your mind goes
Yeah,
blank.
because your doggy came over.
Yeah, so now it's just over.
Well, no, I mean, I have ADD, as we say.
Yeah.
Why do we
okay.
say it? Why is everything an excuse with me?
I don't know.
Do you think people want us to be more meaty in this podcast?
Well, so far we've dealt with an aspect of mental illness every week.
Mine?
Primarily.
Well, what is the mental illness this week podcasts?
No, well, we were going to ADD there. That was. What
Oh,
we were
yeah,
gonna
I do have ADD, but I don't want to use it as a crutch unless I can get away with it.
Sure. I don't want to use it as a So squirrels are fun.
Yeah. Now, I never get a laugh. That's a joke, but what could that be?
That's the coffee pot turning off.
You made coffee?
I did.
I can't even believe you made coffee. That's like something I would do.
Yeah.
Make coffee at 9:30 at night.
Well, I listened to one of our previous podcasts. I'm like, oh, you're tired, because I'd be,
Oh, wait a second. Oh, you're tired. Oh, you were both tired.
Yeah.
I think
you're on more stand-up body rhythm than me, I think.
Well, you know what it is? It's like when I started stand-up, I hadn't seen tons of stand-up, so I wasn't I was self-conscious about a lot of things, but I wasn't self-conscious about the stand-up as having done it the first time. But now I've heard everybody's podcast, and I've heard people progress. So it's like, I remember Mark Maron's podcast, which I love, but the first couple of they were good, but they were totally different format.
Sure.
So I keep thinking we have growing pains to do, but I don't want to go. I want to go from 0 to fascinating.
Well, I think we're still closer to 0, but still, I think
intriguing. Oh, we have reached intriguing.
I think we've raised an eyebrow. I think we're definitely going to be a love it or hate it prospect, no matter what.
Well, that's why that goes along with me coming up with already 30 reviews. I mean, one of the reviews is going to be, "Oh, great! You know what else? You know what we need? The guy who's on every single podcast."
Well, but someone yesterday, when I
podcast.
posted that we're premiering this week, was like, "Yes, my favorite podcast guest of all time finally has his own show."
That could be a show we pitch too.
The best Mr. Podcast
Mr.
guest?
Podcast guest.
Maybe a guy who has no home.
A guy who has
just goes from guest to guest spot.
But the thing that's good about that is that you know how everything in real life is so much more funnier in sitcom form.
Absolutely. He came over for a podcast spot, and then he moved in.
Oh, do you remember I had one year when I was doing my speech, which we'll talk about every podcast, the State of the Industry speech. My thing was they move in. They move in was the whole concept of that particular year.
Yeah.
You know, a woman who is blind, but she hears too well, moves in with a guy who makes a lot of noise and has a fear of touching. That wasn't the exact show, but that was the whole idea,
Right.
and it was very funny.
So you're accusing me of stealing that?
No, but you know where that's available? Because there are 6 degrees. There's 1 degree of separation between me and Josh.
Yeah.
We've known each other for many years. So there's not even a reason to do it. But that was in our legendary video, I Wish I Was Bitter.
Okay, so
was,
I
me
should have
talking
known
about,
it from 10 years ago.
That's the move-in chunk.
Okay.
Do you think should we pause and let people get that to listen to it? Give them time.
If you'd like to stop, order the DVD from Amazon.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We can wait.
When does that kick in, my online sales? When does that kick in for
You
me?
should be getting a check soon.
Well, I Wish I Was Bitter.
Right. It's been on sale for what, 7, 8 years?
Yeah, I think I'm starting.
You'll get a check, I'm sure.
No, I've actually owned all of that, and I've sold 12 to 15.
Nice.
I'm a big believer in selling things after a show. That's the kind of career I want to have.
Do you take merch on the road?
I have a CD that's supposed to have been coming out for a long, and this is something. Well, we're probably similar this way, but you're more organized than me. But I record this CD in 2013. It's called Hence the Humor. This didn't even require you, Josh. People may not know, Josh saved my wife Susan and myself's life when we were editing I Wish I Was Bitter. It's all in the movie Heart of Darkness.
It was a bad scene I walked into, but we came out with a special.
Right. And I just did this, Hence the Humor, which I did 2 nights at UCB Franklin. But we only used 1 night.
Okay.
And then at first I wasn't going to edit, then we did edit. Why do I need everything on there?
Right, it's true.
So that's...
I like to feel I taught you that with that last thing.
You did, because you I'm not going to bring up the exact problem and the name and address of the guy who is bothering us. This is the only thing terrestrial radio has over us is the cough button.
The cough
That's
button.
the only thing.
Yes.
So you edited stuff. Well, this was also the special that you edited was shot at the old M Bar.
Right.
And so you saw wait staff walking, cocktail waitress.
Yeah,
waitress.
some of my edits were suggested for me by a waitress head.
Yeah.
This would be a good time to cut to the other camera.
But you know how you attach, like Hart says, my songs are my children. Mm-hmm. My jokes are my children. And I didn't want to cut any of them. But then you would say things to me like, look, we know you don't like Lorne Michaels. Lorne Michaels knows that you don't like Lorne Michaels. But nobody cares. The 70. Did you cut out all my Lorne Michaels material?
Well, it's because you did it before you even said hello.
Right. Well, no, I think I opened up with Leno.
Well, yeah, I don't. Walking through the audience, you were doing Leno, and then you talked about someone's food on their table for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
I thought that would take off.
And
is that people watching things that don't
spaghetti bolognese? I think was the joke.
But I thought that would take off, like the Thought Spiral show. You know, we never complete a thought.
Right.
I thought that's what people would love.
That's
It's like
disjointed.
Well, at their home, they can add in the thing.
Right.
So this show I did in 2013. I now have to edit. It's supposed to be out by now. It's called Hence the Humor. It should be out by now.
So why isn't it?
All right. Well, there's a lot of different excuses. I have my excuses alphabetized, but the last excuse was that we put the state of the industry out first. But that's already 3 months old excuse.
Right.
And also in this,
And it's also 20 years old.
oh, that makes it sound worse somehow.
Well, I'm just saying.
But what I did, which I'm very proud of myself, I did future jokes on the show in
Oh, that's
2013.
good. Excellent.
So I had President Boehner.
Okay.
And I did Bitcoins. Bitcoins are as current now as they were when I said that.
It's currency of currents.
Where'd you get that hat,
See.
sir? With Bitcoins?
Nice.
Boom.
Nice.
Now, except for the fact that I'm in my early 80s, it will seem to the kids today. And the kids don't care how old they're laughing at.
No, at least not on an audio product.
Are you saying that I would get hurt if they saw me now?
You wouldn't get hurt. I mean, your feelings might get hurt.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I have a face for radio. Face for radio.
Yes.
I can't tell you any of the classics without putting a little mustard on there.
No, that wouldn't be you.
Face. One guy once said to me, and this was 20 years ago, that I have more chins than a Chinese phone book.
Wow.
First of all, it sounds racist.
I think it's a little racist.
Well, no, I guess there are people named Chin.
There are.
But why would there be a Chinese phone book?
Well, because you're in China.
Okay, never mind that.
Yeah, okay. I come to think of it, it's really not as racist as.
Well, I guess what I'm asking you is you don't have the same problem.
But when you get to the Chinese phone book and it's like in the W's and it's like
Right.
wing, hello, you don't.
how long? I've never seen you happier about doing a bit.
It's the coffee. The coffee changed everything, really.
Oh, that's right. You didn't have coffee now.
No, exactly.
So you are more organized than me, but you're not that much.
I wrote
more.
2 things on a piece of paper and we're already done with them. So
No, but if with this podcast, which is really tearing it up.
Well, yes, I'm more organized in terms of getting this podcast going because, as you said, you recorded an album 3 years ago, Andy.
Right. So you don't have the same problems.
I do not. I don't.
You're not a procrastinator.
I have 2 movies about to go to 2 different distributors. I got
Right.
a box set moving out the door right now.
What's the box set?
Cinematic Titanic.
Oh, are you working? Oh, so you're putting that together.
Shout Factory is putting out a box set of the complete collection of Cinematic Titanic DVDs.
See, now that's an example where you said that a lot of these podcasts are one person promoting their stuff to the other person.
Exactly. And
I did not know about this box set. Now I do.
It's very exciting. I just did an interview for it the other day.
That's how it begins.
And it was weird because I'm the only one doing an interview for it because I'm the only one who lives in L.A. and that's the kind of budget we're working with for this box
this can't
set.
be true.
Yes.
Cinematic Titanic is like a cult hit.
It's a cult
hit. Cult. It's cultish.
No, I'm
It's
saying,
very cultish.
I'm saying don't include hit in that sentence because it's
Well,
not
didn't you?
really
But you
accurate.
also have some great stories. Like didn't one of the guys, B movie guys, not want to let you use the movie? Was it Corman, Roger Corman, or we can't talk about that?
We can talk about it. I guess it was.
You know what?
we
I
were
don't want to
doing-
talk about anything that you say. We can talk about that.
It's
yes.
okay. We were doing a show. We were doing a show at the Ford Amphitheater.
Right. Where did I hear this story? I know. Oh, maybe from Life.
Maybe, maybe I told it on the first episode. I don't even know.
No, you didn't. You told it to me in a conversation.
And we were going to do this show, like 1,200 people, all LA people for the LA Film Festival, and Saturday night show, and like Friday afternoon, and we're supposed to do a Roger Corman movie, and the day before there's an article in the LA Times about how the MST guys are going to tear Roger Corman a new asshole, with Lost Woman, blah blah blah. So Roger Corman sends a cease and desist letter to everyone involved with the show, including the county of LA, which owns the venue, saying, if you go on with this show, I'm going to sue.
I didn't even know you
I'm
could
going
write to the
to
county.
sue you all. And so everyone's like freaking out. Like, we're going to have to cancel the show. And, like, fortunately, we had another movie we could do, We just, like, literally went to Kinko's, printed up scripts for another movie, got together, rehearsed it, and did a different movie the next night.
Yeah.
And it was great because it was, like, the first time we ever, as a group, had to, like, face a crisis like that. And we kind of came through pretty good.
Oh, I thought you... Oh, okay. I thought you were almost made a deal with him or something.
No. And then we talked to his lawyers like the next week because we were putting on a DVD of it, and he was claiming that he had the rights to this movie, which he didn't because it was a public domain movie, and it was more complicated than that. But we were right and he was
Now,
wrong.
I'm not saying
then we
this-
made a deal where we
Oh, you could use it.
where we could use it, and we just clarified that it wasn't just we put a little disclaimer on the box.
Oh, okay.
He just as his lawyer said to us, Roger doesn't want to shut you down. He just wants his piece.
Is that the way you're supposed to speak as someone's
That's
lawyer?
literally what
You're
the lawyer
supposed to say
said.
It's more like it's not a matter of the money.
And it was Joel Hodgson and I on the phone with Roger Corman's lawyers because we didn't have lawyers at the time. So,
And now you do?
well, we paid him as we needed
Don't
him.
start with
I personally have a lawyer now. Yes,
Wow. Do you call him a mouthpiece? Her?
it's a he.
Oh, see. I'm going to get any trouble for that. All right, so that, I don't know how I got into that. See, that's an example where I started something.
Yeah,
I couldn't finish.
It's the cinematic
Hey,
Titanic, is what we
here
got
comes
into
a
it.
plane.
Oh,
do
are we
a
gonna
plane
shut
joke.
down?
A plane joke.
Hope it's one of ours.
That's our classic go-to. It's Gruber, our friend, the hilarious Gruber. He saw the Glenn Miller Band, right? You don't know the story?
I don't know.
Oh.
He's not the only one to use that joke. I assure you.
Oh, okay. Now this is going to get into a thing now. I assure you. This is where it comes from. Is that you do wheel one time with Roger Corman's lawyers, and you have to say to your friend, "I assure you."
I am the son of a lawyer too. It's embedded in my DNA.
Okay, so now I know he didn't say this, but this is the only time I've heard it because he couldn't have been the only one who says it because it's a classic. But he saw Gruber said he saw the Glenn Miller Band. None of the original members, obviously, including
Glenn Miller.
he
What?
wasn't there either.
No.
We don't know where he is. Do you have a theory?
I have a theory that he's at the bottom of the English Channel.
Is that what they think happened? His plane went down?
Yeah.
Well, how come? No, was it other people in the band there? On the plane? You know nothing about Glenn Miller's death.
Not much more than the Jimmy Stewart
it's very
movie.
unsatisfying for me. So Gruber said he's seen the Glenn Miller Band, none of the original members.
Right.
A plane. He hears a plane, and he says, "Hope it's one of ours."
Classic
I
Gruber.
think that's the greatest.
Classic Gruber.
The idea that your material would be that old. Hope it's one of ours. But the thing about it is, do you think there was a reasonable in your life, besides thinking you're going to be incinerated in any moment, like from Trump?
Yeah.
We've never had to worry about hope it's one of ours.
Not in my life. No.
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 All right, you're witness. So I'm thinking that's a good joke, but also pretty ballsy. Don't bring up no. That's a joke that's said by a country not being bombed, right?
What do you mean?
In other words, if I'm during World War II and you say hope it's one of ours, you're going to get a laugh because we weren't bombed until Pearl Harbor. So you're like, we're like London. See?
Yes. Yes.
do see.
The joke works only if you're in a place where there's
relative
no
safety.
actual risk of it being someone else's.
You know when it doesn't work? when it's
in
not
London,
one of ours.
1942. London, 1942. That joke does not do well.
It's not one of ours.
Even stiff upper lip, that joke does not do well.
That's right. I'm glad we cleared that up. I wrote something
You're
down.
jotting down things like Letterman now. Like,
Yeah.
There's even an eraser on both sides.
Thank
of
you
your-
for comparing me to Letterman. That's all I've ever wanted
Well,
to
it's
do.
maybe the fact that you're wearing a Late Show shirt.
Now, normally, my wife discourages me from wearing...
Swag.
ask me about my appearances on Marin. I have that shirt.
Right.
Do you recognize this man with an arrow going up from
Right.
Everybody Loves Raymond?
Right.
She doesn't like me to wear that one.
Yes, I am that guy.
Yes. I have no problem being recognized to the point where it's inconvenient. And I do not, if you want to take a photo with me, take a photo with me. That's the advantage that you have over interacting with me than your hero, Louis C.K., who spends more time explaining why he won't take a picture than he could have just taken a picture.
Does he reject the pictures?
Yes.
He does, really? On what grounds?
He just, I don't know if he ever gives an explanation for why he doesn't
He just
allow
goes,
it.
I don't do
I don't
that.
allow it.
I don't do
But he
that.
does it. He was on a show, a panel show of some type. Maybe it was Conan. I don't know. But he had a story about how this woman, they wanted him to take a picture of them. And he thought they were asking to take a picture of him.
Okay.
So he goes, oh, I don't do that. I go, we want you to take a picture of. So here covered all the Louis C.K. bases. Because I call him a political comedian. It's all about politics with him.
Okay.
That story is meant to convey three things. It's funny, right? Because fish out of water.
All right.
We thought it was. It's not a fish out of water. Also, it lets people know
It is better, I have to say, than his fish in water stories.
that's the worst.
Those are not. Those don't go anywhere.
They're so boring.
They are.
I go, well, it's a fish and water story. Well, what's the twist? There isn't a twist.
There isn't a twist.
The water's poisoned?
No, it's just a fish in water in his natural habitat, feeling pretty comfortable.
They're
with
gay.
it.
But the twist is, that can't be a good twist.
And then an eel moves in.
And then, see, and people were complaining on the emails that we don't do callbacks enough.
Exactly.
So, okay, I forgot what I was saying there. Louis about, come on.
You were going to bring a thought caddy this week.
I did, but I wrote down E. I don't even have a word that had E in it.
Wow.
But, okay. You see, if you haven't remembered one thing I've said, I said, here is he's killing 5 humor stones with one bird. He is self-deprecating.
All right.
People love a self-deprecating celebrity. He lets you
I'm
know.
not good enough to self-deprecate.
Why would anybody want to hear how I put myself down?
Exactly.
Is that your self-deprecating voice?
No.
But then the other point of the story is that you know that Louis C.K. is that famous that it's actually an issue with him about whether he has time to take a photo with someone. That's why he kind of told the story.
Okay.
I don't know what you have against him, but just like stop being obsessed with it.
Nothing, Mr. Zapruder.
I would like more references like Mr. Zapruder.
Yeah.
For a week, I was walking around and saying to everybody in any kind of establishment, call them Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Just a double cappuccino, Shakespeare.
It's actually less sarcastic than Einstein.
It is.
Einstein's just
Easy
insulting.
Shakespeare. But I love the idea that it would be Shakespeare if you were relating to someone who had written something or was acting like they were talking from a speech.
Yeah, no, it's totally inappropriate. I get
It's
what
totally
I get what
inappropriate.
you're going for or not going for.
Yeah. I'd like a large fries, Shakespeare. That's even worse. It's a fast food place.
Right.
And so
yeah.
now you're putting
It's
down
pretty
the type of
condescending.
establishment.
Yeah, it's pretty
nice going,
condescending.
Shakespeare. Yeah. I always go into Dennis Miller when I have that voice.
Do you? Hey, Scooter, nice job with that, Shakespeare.
Nice, Shakespeare. I loved when he was on Letterman once, and he said, it's like watching Koyaanisqatsi. And Letterman goes, it's Koyaanisqatsi.
Hey, Chachi.
What's he going to do now that Bill O'Reilly's gone?
He is going to move up into the big stratosphere of blowhards, baby.
Well, we have made a decision, and this is not a decision because, well, we did. We sat down with our affiliates,
Right.
and they said, "Look, keep politics out of this if you want the show to be a big seller." But we have made our decision on our own that very, very depressing, and we don't want to talk about it that much. And we're not ruling it out. But if you wonder, don't these guys know that we're one day away from the world being destroyed? Yes.
Yes, we're well aware. We've shit our pants.
And Josh is a big right-wing guy, and I
No,
don't want to
will
get
you
him
stop
started.
saying that?
Look, the people.
The problem is we're the choir. We're each the choir, and we'll both rant to each other and agree with each other, and that's not good radio.
No, it's not good radio. I think first of all, there's no rules.
There's no
So it's
rules, but
oral.
my Twitter feed will tell you how I feel about the current administration.
People love my Twitter feed with my constancy.
They do. You're the best at Twitter.
Here's the thing, though, about Twitter, though. When people say, when they come on and say, come on, stop it with this, whatever it is that you're saying, could you stop it with it? I tweet a lot. I think we know that.
You do?
So you're coming on, you're saying stop it with that one thought I had at that one particular juncture. They make it as if that's all I do all day. I know you can make the argument that is all I do is political stuff, but it's not true, though. I could make 5 or 6 hilarious observational jokes in a row. What's the deal with cream cheese?
Right.
It's not creamy and it's not cheesy.
Right. Classic
Or
Kindler.
a good one. Yeah.
Right.
Why they call it toothpaste. You don't glue the toothbrush to your teeth.
Also,
Anything like that.
All your greatest hits.
And then every once in a while I go, Donald Trump is evil.
Right.
And then they go,
that's
would you stop it with the Donald Trump?
Right.
Twitter, I thought, was going to be where you say anything you want in the moment.
Well, that is what you do with it seems.
Do you spend a lot of... your thing is Twitter, right? You're not an Instagram guy.
No, I'm a Twitter guy. But I don't... It's...
I know. You can't compare your addiction to my addiction. 'Cause you don't have an addiction.
I have kind of an addiction, but I'm not... My addiction isn't fighting. My addiction is just the joke dumping.
Oh, well, okay. So I have OCD, and one of the things you have when you have OCD is called checking.
Well, I like to check. I like to see how my jokes are doing, for sure.
Oh, okay. And that's really the downside of Twitter, because the thing is that when you come up with a joke, anytime I come up with a real joke, I don't come up with it going, I hope this gets a lot of likes.
Yeah.
You come up with it to be funny in the moment. But now, since that's the measure...
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's sort of the equation of a laugh, sort of. You know,
Yeah.
It's some sort of approval that I'm seeking. I know that much. So it's but I don't like sit and compose tweets. I have a thought and go, okay, right. You know, instead of a notebook, I just put it on Twitter.
I have never yet put it on. This is going to be good for spring Twitter. I have not done anything like that.
The draft. I don't even have, my thing doesn't have a draft folder, but some people do.
Draft folder.
Where you can just like keep tweets ready to
No,
spring
I
on the
write
world.
everything in notes. Most things I write in notes.
Oh, do you?
We both are Mac people, and we say that hoping that Apple will want to. I don't care. They could pay for this. Are we against people like buying the podcast or paying for it? If it was like brought to you by Apple, would you care?
Not if we had. I wouldn't charge our people for the podcast. No, if that's what you're saying.
No. But free stuff for us.
Oh,
no, we're not
yes.
going to charge.
Yes.
We're not going to ever charge for this podcast unless it looks like a reasonable ploy.
Sure.
But why is Siri such a? Why? What's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? I get better results when I put my own thing with my own voice in there.
Yeah.
What's it helping to have this person say to you, I'm not sure what you're saying. I don't get what you mean. There's no such place like that. I don't know, Andy. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't open that app because of a deal that Photoshop made.
Wow.
Adobe made.
You're just having a much harder time than most people, I think.
You use Siri. Well, you don't use Siri. You had to get a whole separate system, you told me. Liz.
Yeah, I subcontracted out my phone.
What is that one called for Amazon?
I have Alexa. I have the Alexa.
Okay, so for example,
and
if we had sponsors, you could talk about Alexa, and then we could go, interesting you bring that up.
But it's not working out, the whole Siri. I mean, the other day, I was like, Siri, what's the weather? And she's like, why don't you ask your whore in a can?
Oh, my
You know?
God. I cannot even believe that I allowed you. I don't mind the
You
joke.
just, like, opened up.
I don't mind the
You
joke.
just
I
opened
don't
up.
want to ever be in
It's
this.
like you like stuck out your arm straight out just to go for it, my friend.
I was so against you doing that joke that I didn't even hear what the joke was. Why don't you tell your whore? So
Your whore in a can. It was the Alexa.
What's the oh? Well, that's a good joke.
Thank you.
Right? I'm gonna back
Jesus.
up now. I'm gonna back up now. So you're saying you're having problems with Siri? How's that
Siri,
working out?
Yeah, it's not working out so good with her.
So what'd you say to her the other day?
Well, you know, I'm not that good with gadgets, but I have so many problems with the gadgets. My wife got me an Alexa, and already there's trouble. I was going out in traffic. I'm like, Siri, what's the traffic on the 405? She's like, why don't you ask your whore in a can? Oh, there's my whore in a can.
Oh, my
My
God.
whore in a can just heard it.
What are the odds that Siri?
That's Alexa in the next room.
Oh, that's Alexa?
Yeah.
Sounds like Siri to me.
No, Siri's
What are the odds that would happen? I guess the
that's
odds
her
are
job is to
that-
sit there and listen for her name.
Yeah. So why is it that I think everything is some kind of spiritual awakening?
don't know,
What are the
but-
odds that we use the activating sound for the device and that it responded? In my case, it never happens. Siri never understands anything I say. One time she said, "I don't know what you need, Andy," and I felt like now we're getting somewhere.
Where is this really coming from, Andy?
Andy. She does have, and I don't know if there's money in this, but she has said funny things to me in response to stuff.
Yeah.
And do you think there's money in me getting into that field?
Being the Al Jaffe of Apple, like doing the snappy answers to stupid Siri questions.
Yes, Josh, I was asking you, should I get into the fold-out magazine business? Isn't that what his was?
He was the foldouts and the snappy answers to stupid questions.
Snappy answers to stupid questions was, as a kid, was the greatest thing. I thought it was so hilarious. Are you going skiing? No, we're going swimming. We just have to get over this ski slope to get to the pool. I just can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, that one.
All of them.
Yeah.
And then the other one was sung to the tune of.
Right. Those are all good. Chopped liver, onions on the side.
Don't go further because you will have to pay.
Yeah.
But then there was one called From the Ants in My Petunia Bed to the Crabgrass on My Lawn. So that was like a pesticide song.
There you go. Yeah, I would sing them out loud.
Well, now, I'm a big fan of Drew Friedman.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you love Drew Friedman, too.
Love Drew Friedman, sure.
Now, he talks about having been... He did the he did the books about the heroes of comics.
Right.
And when he said that Dave Berg, he loved Dave Berg. And I have to admit that I did love Dave Berg. But then as I got older and you'd read like Harvey Kurtzman putting down,
All right.
like he didn't like Harvey Kurtzman, he didn't want it to be a kid's magazine.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I liked Dave Berg when I was a kid because
I loved him.
But I was afraid of hippies too, because I was a kid. But when you look back on it as an adult, it was the most curmudgeonly piece of shit you can imagine.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna go. Hey, Dad, we're gonna go out to the fair.
Oh, that means you'll have to leave the basement. Wah wah.
Now, is Dave Berg? He looks like the one picture that they always have.
Roger Kaputnik, I believe.
How would you? That's the type of thing I wouldn't want a brain like that.
Really? It's pretty great. It's pretty great, Andy.
That you could remember that.
Roger
so his
Kaputnik?
alter ego is Roger Kaputnik.
Yeah, he was. Roger Kaputnik was the guy with the beard and the glasses.
Oh no, I'm talking about the guy who like smoked a pipe.
Yeah, same guy. Oh no, you're talking. The guy with the pipe had the beard and glasses. That wasn't Roger Kaputnik. You're right.
That's
That
Dave
was-
Berg, right?
Yeah.
So I always wondered if he looked like that. Did you look at the drawn out dramas when you were a kid?
I don't remember drawn out dramas.
There, Sergio I think it was a Spy versus Spy. He would do tiny little.
He didn't do Spy versus Spy, but yeah, he would do them. He did all the margin drawings, and he would.
Why did I say he was Spy versus Spy?
I don't know.
That was a mistake. But the margin drawings.
Yeah, that was all Sergio Aragon's. I met him once at the airport.
Wow, was that fun?
It was. He was very nice.
How'd you know it was him?
Just knowing what he looked like, and I was with Frank Conniff, so
Oh,
it was easy.
See?
It was
Frank Conniff is
Is that at Sergio Aragon's? Yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah, he knows. He's one of these guys who knows everything.
Yeah, he knows a lot, and
Like-
he seems happy. He seems happy knowing things.
I love. No, but
We got to go to Mad headquarters, Trace and Frank and I,
where was this?
in New York City when we were playing on Broadway with Cinematic Titanic.
Oh my god!
And it was so fun. We were treated like nerd royalty, and they put us in the magazine too.
Wait a second. How long ago was that?
This was like 2010, maybe
That's so cool.
2011, maybe.
Now I know I've probably said it already, but if I haven't said it, and I'm going to say it 50,000 more times with it. My dad was friends with Harvey Kurtzman. You know this, right?
Yeah, but tell the viewers.
Tell
or
the
listeners.
viewers, and if I've said it in a previous show, what do you? It's not like you're paying for this.
No.
I'm so tired of people whining about that they've heard my stories before. I'm not here to obviously to entertain you. My dad was a plumbing and heating contractor, and one of his good friends was Harry Chester, who was like an advertising
A Madison Avenue guy.
Kind of, I think he was.
A madman, if you will.
Yeah, he was like a man. And his best friend was Harvey Kurtzman. And my parents were like best friends with Harry Chester and Irene, his wife, and Harvey Kurtzman and the Kurtzman family, Adele. And so I knew them growing up. But just like I went to the 1964 World's Fair. Oh, I was 8 years old, and there was Harvey Kurtzman.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget that we saw somebody at a huge fair that my dad knew, and then my dad would just say how funny he was.
Yeah.
And then, my dad wasn't in the business, but he did see the first galleys to Mad Magazine.
Really?
Yeah. So that's off my chest. But the thing I wanted to say was
my dad tutored Bob Dylan in English.
Is that true?
At the University of Minnesota, yes.
That's a better story.
No, it's just my fame dropping.
Now, how old was Bob Dylan?
They were both freshmen in college.
And was he nice?
I guess so. They were both pledging Sigma Alpha Mu fraternity.
This is so cool. And did he keep in touch with Bob Dylan?
Not at all.
Now, your dad...
Not at all.
I don't want to bring us down, but your dad passed away young, right?
Yeah, it's like 20 when he was 52.
And did your dad like Bob Dylan?
He wasn't like a Dylan fan, but he was, he liked, and he wasn't like eagerly telling that story all the time either. I was.
Yeah.
But but that was just sort of a fact. But my grandma was really good friends. My grandma on my mom's side was genuinely like good buddies with Dylan's mom, with Beattie, who was
What's her name?
like Beattie. Well, it was Beattie Rutman when I knew her because she was remarried to Joe Rutman. But she was Beattie Zimmerman.
Yeah.
On the Iron Range in Minnesota, where both my grandma and her grew up.
Oh man.
So it was like Beattie was at my bar mitzvah and cooked banana bread for my bar mitzvah and stuff. And
wait, so you knew this connection then because you were younger, obviously.
yeah, but it was two separate connections. This was my mom's mom was friends with Beattie, and my dad happened to be a pledge brother with Dylan.
Did you ever pursue that connection, Josh, and try to connect?
You should call
Bob Dylan.
You should call Bob
and
Dylan.
Say, I know your grandma Beattie.
No, I did. My dad also went to high school with Dr. Demento, and I posted Dr. Demento's high school yearbook pic a little while ago, and he got in touch with me on Twitter. So.
Wait, you posted it where?
On Twitter.
And Dr. Demento contacted you?
Yes. He was like, oh, you must be Mayor's son.
I think I'm allergic to dogs.
All right, well, that's not going to work out in the long term for this podcast, is it?
No, but let me tell you something. I love that. You moved here what year?
Moved to LA in January of 92.
Okay, because I moved out here in 78. And let's just forget about the age already, all right? I was 2 years old.
Okay.
And I loved Dr. Demento. I loved him.
Yeah,
and I got into that show, and I would listen to it. And was it on K-Rock, or was it on...
I listened to it in Minneapolis, so it was...
It's syndicated.
It was syndicated.
Because I talked to Al Weird Al, because he's
Yeah.
like the sweetest guy in the world. And he told me about how I'm just fascinated with how he got started. And
in my dad's yearbook, he was, it's like Barry Hansen, or Barrett Hansen was his name. And, like record, we all love him for his record collection and DJs at the dance and,
Wait, he was a schoolmate of your dad's.
Yes.
Oh, see, I got very confused. I saw him as a schoolmate of yours. Why would you have such an old man who has a popular show?
It's time for number one.
You want to hear my impression of him?
Sure.
It's Dr. Demento. It's crazy. And now, here's Bobby Meatball with his song, I Like Meatballs. I like meatballs. I like a meatballs. I am looking at you, getting laughs out of how annoying I am.
No, I really you hooked me at Bobby Meatball. I'm gonna tell you honestly. I was annoyed, and then you Bobby Meatball.
I'm a Bobby Meatball. I'm a Bobby Meatball. That's from Bobby Meatball's novelty album, Pasta. The imposter.
Bobby.
He's the imposter. Now look, here's the thing. Anybody can do a pun, and I never let anyone forget that.
No.
I love that show. And before I was a comedian, I was a musician, as you know, and I'll keep talking about it. But I wrote a parody song. He was having a contest on Dr. Demento.
Okay.
I asked Weird Al about it.
Yeah.
He didn't know anything about this contest.
Really?
Nor did he know that I didn't win anything.
Huh.
But so you would I made a novelty song, and he had a contest.
Was it a parody?
No. I wrote a song called The Nuclear Radiation Blues. It was right around the time that 3 Mile Island happened.
Okay.
And so it was
79.
He's got the blues. He's got the radiation blues. So here is my favorite line that I will, I think even you, being a connoisseur of great parody songs, will say you like it. I said, my 3 eyes are crying because my mom has been exposed. Now that's funny, right? My 3 eyes are crying. My mom has been exposed. She's tearing at her fingernails and ripping off all her clothes. She's got the radiation, the nuclear radiation blues. And my girlfriend at the time and 2 other ladies sang, he's got the blues, he's got the radiation blues. I was crushed that I didn't win that contest. I'm not saying it was the greatest song of all time.
No, I think you are.
I am saying
you're
that.
really,
I am saying
you're
that.
really kind of backing it.
I think you more than anybody knows that I can't let things go.
Yeah.
I'm still agonizing over
we're-
slights.
At
from
least
my
you're up to
20s.
1979 is the way I look at it. You're about to crack the 80s, which is pretty good. You're at a good rate. This
Well, did we
therapy thing is good for you.
Did we tie it all together though? Like, so Dr. Demento was a schoolmate of your dad's.
Right.
Oh, so what happened
And
when
Dylan,
recently?
I think I went from Dylan to Dr. Demento.
And so what did you? I don't get what you. Oh, you recently posted your dad's high school yearbook on Facebook. Am I right about this?
On Twitter, yes.
On Twitter, because you don't do Facebook. I do. Does your Twitter go to Facebook, Josh? Answer the question.
It does not.
Yes or no?
It does not.
Yes or no?
No.
Well, why is mine going there? I just realized all my misspellings are going to Facebook. They hate me at Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, because Joel Madison, the great Joel Madison, thinks it's a pastime of his to tell people when they say things to me on Facebook, I don't know what you're asking him for. He's not going to respond to you.
Yeah. Because you don't?
I think we should announce now that we have had no guests on this show so far. But if we do have a guest, the first one's going to be Joel Madison. And why?
Because he's the geographically next closest person.
No, you told me his feelings would be hurt.
Oh,
if
yeah.
he wasn't the first
Yeah,
one.
that's
Like
true.
if we went with who would be a person that he wouldn't like that we went with first? A comic, maybe?
Maybe
No.
like Dave Higgins. If we went with Dave
Oh,
Higgins.
yeah, that would be good. That would be a good prank we could play.
Yeah.
So, and then Demento said thank you.
He would just, you must be Mayor's son. Because he noted the same last name and all.
Now, did you ever come when you came to town? Did you ever go to try and see the show or something?
No. I was, by the time I came to town, it was definitely like a teen thing for me, the Dr. Demento show.
Oh,
It was like
I can't remember. Since you're younger, everything you were too old for. But is it a kids thing? I don't know what it is really.
well, that's when I got into it. Was
Yeah.
when I was like 12 or 13. That was peak Demento for me.
And now it's Larry Gravy with his Larry Gravy song. I like gravy, 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 gravy.
There was a waiter at Acme Comedy Club years ago, whose grandfather was Napoleon the 23rd. He's coming to take me away, ha ha, hoo hoo, hee hee, ha ha, hoo hoo.
What do you mean Napoleon the 23rd?
That was the name of the guy who did "They're Coming to Take Me Away," ha
Now,
ha, hee hee, hoo hoo, hee ha.
He wrote the song?
His grandfather was Napoleon the 23rd.
First of all, that song still bothers me.
Yeah, oh good. I'm glad I hit a nerve here with this.
Because it bothers me because it actually is disturbing to me.
Yeah, because you were worried about being taken away, hee hee, ha ha, ho ho.
Well, first of all, you wouldn't. And I know they wouldn't get the politically. You can't do those great songs anymore. But you wouldn't write a song like that now
no
because the evolution of how we look at mental illness
is
You're not going hoo ha ha hee hoo. Oh, your father's went to
to the funny farm. I go hee hee ha.
Oh, I understand. Your mom had a breakdown. Is she going ah hee hoo hoo? Now, is there a story behind it that you learned about why he wrote that song?
No.
And why is he Napoleon the 23rd?
Because he had to come up with a name. There was a blank on the form.
Are you telling me he was like a Tin Pan Alley guy? What year was this? No, this was like the 60s, wasn't it?
Probably.
Well, life is beautiful. That is the worst song. It's not a good song. I guess you would argue it is a good song.
I would argue it's as good as Fish Head.
What is Fish Heads?
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, fish heads, fish
heads, eat them up, yum.
All right, now where's that from?
Dr. Demento show, very regularly.
Oh, okay, but who did the fish head song?
I think it was Barnes and Barnes.
You can't.
By Barnes and Barnes.
Where do you know these people from?
Because I listen as I go along in life, Andy.
See, I was much more sophisticated than you, and I was already getting into existentialism while you were listening.
Yeah,
To stuff.
Sart and Sart.
This is, I feel like, our best podcast. So this makes me want to just throw out the first two podcasts and
Yeah,
start
you're
with
going to
this.
say that every week, though.
I know, but here's the thing. I don't want these idiots.
That's why you will not be seeing the first draft of the email box.
I don't want these idiots. This is how I feel about my fans. I don't want these idiots coming on and going, that first... This is what they're going to say. Oh, Andy sure sounded defensive on that first episode about...
This doesn't sound defensive.
Dear
though.
Thought Spiral, Andy is does Andy not know he's one of the most unpleasant people on Twitter?
Yeah.
Does he actually believe that people don't think he's a seriously disturbed man with petty grudges?
Right. That's why you do the podcast.
Stop doing the
counterpoint.
Stop doing the podcast. Love a concerned non-listener.
Right.
Dear Thought Spiral. That's why this guy sounds.
All right.
Dear Thought Spiral, what's up with the show? You just going to sit there and talk, and then is the joke that you don't make a thought?
Yeah, there's going to be stuff like that, Andy, but there's also going to be some love coming our way. I can feel it. I can feel it, man.
People are rooting for us to
And
fail.
you're only going to see the love, so don't worry.
Do you feel bad that we made a contract before this and I got 60-40?
Not yet.
All I said was, I just said, look, how many followers do you have? How many followers do I
Wow.
have? Read them and weep. And you couldn't understand why I just wouldn't stop saying it. Read them and weep.
It's okay. I'm weeping.
All right?
I'm weeping.
All right? When you have 2 million followers, 3 million, I don't know why I'm pretending that I'll overdub that later.
Yeah.
But I bring a lot of power to the...
Oh, God, you do.
If I had something to sell right now, anything at all, it would have sold very well.
You are both the show's biggest attraction and its biggest liability. So it's a yin and yang thing.
You mean because I'm the biggest liability because a lot of people will hear me and go, oh, I don't like it.
Yeah,
Right? Whereas
yes,
you,
yes.
they'll think is more charming, you think?
No, I don't think they're going to even get to me in their
They'll
evaluation.
say, the one guy is so obnoxious.
They're going to hear, is it on?
Is
and
it
then
on?
Click.
And then they'll say the other one guy is like full of himself, but he doesn't want to be full of himself, and all he's talking about is himself, and he's trying to defend how he yelled at somebody online. And the other guy, you know what? I don't need it.
I just don't need this.
First of all, does the second guy have to be a Jew? They thought he should.
This show is like being an Uber driver with the worst passengers.
How does that? Now make that. Now you are the king of analogies. Make that analogy work for me.
It did work. Listening to the show is like being an Uber driver driving around the worst passengers in the world.
Who are the worst? Oh, that's right.
It's us.
Us.
Hello.
That is. You know what? You may laugh or you may not laugh. That's a good way to promote the show.
Yeah. The comedian who needs jokes explained.
What's worse than you want to listen to something that's worse than when you get into a cab and they try and sell you things? Try Thought Spiral. You ever see that when you get in the cab and they have like a minute from some show?
Yes,
cab.
the monitors. Anytime there's a monitor in a cab, it's not good.
Did you ever go to New York City during the horrible time period? It was like, hey, John Rivers. It's John Rivers. Buckle up.
This is Barry White. Welcome to Manhattan. Buckle up.
Hi, I'm Kenny G. I hate my music too. Buckle up.
This is Mayor Giuliani. Grab your stuff on the way out of the car. Welcome to New York.
Hey, this is Rudy Giuliani. When it comes right down to it, maybe I am prejudiced. Don't forget your skis.
This is Curtis Sliwa.
It's Curtis Sliwa. Yes, it may be true that a couple of the stories I said were exaggerated, but how could I not be legitimate when I'm wearing an outfit?
I'm your guardian angel, so exit on the right.
That's the difference between me and you. You developed the bit, but I don't know why you're exiting. Is it on the subway, they say?
No, it's the cabs.
Okay, so
You don't want to exit on the left because it's into traffic.
they had it in Vegas, too, for a while.
Yeah.
Hey, Vegas.
This is Wayne Newton. Donk Shane for getting in the cab.
You ever hear that story about Wayne Newton, like he was going to punch Johnny Carson out?
No, I met Wayne Newton.
And was he nice?
He was super nice.
I should never have used a celebrity as a dividing line.
See, I was a writer on a talk show for a couple of years, so I have a lot of celebrity stories from because you get a celebrity a day.
Oh, this is great.
So Wayne Newton was this is NBC Burbank, and he comes out after doing our show, which is later with Greg Kinnear,
Stop dropping that show as a credit.
It's not even. It wasn't even.
Oh, okay.
It was at 1:30 in the morning. It wasn't a credit.
Please
It's
proceed.
literally
proceed.
wasn't a credit. But he wanted directions back to Van Nuys Airport, where he had flown himself in on his jet. He himself piloted
Wow.
and then drove himself from the airport to Burbank.
And what was your impression?
My impression was very genuine, nice guy who's kind of scary looking, bigger than you'd think. He's a big guy, leathery kind of.
Can you write down on a piece of paper who we're talking about? Because my mind went
Wayne
blank.
Newton.
Oh, Wayne Newton. Okay. So now, Wayne Newton, now I'm back. Wayne Newton, he supposedly plays, too. He does play, right?
He played a bunch of instruments.
Yeah.
I took my parents to see Wayne Newton in Vegas once. Not like they were big fans of Wayne Newton. I just thought it was a funny thing to do.
So you had enough money when you were younger to do joke pranks like that?
I started making money when I was 22.
I know, you're amazing. When did you stop?
I stopped a while back now, but
Well, when we monetize this podcast, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. This podcast is, and we're not even with a big outfit yet, big distributing.
one of the big podcast conglomerates.
I love the word outfit. It's
Yeah.
a nice outfit. Okay, look. The last thing I need is there a way that you can lose the implied eye roll?
That was your example.
Hey, this is our best.
This word outfit, it works in any situation. Nice outfit. See?
Let me tell you something. This is the best podcast we've done. I think we've hit our stride.
I think absolutely.
So throw the other two out.
Don't even listen to 1 and 2.
Well, what do you think now? Do you think that we should keep? See, now if we did what I want to do, which is dump the first two, it would be 7 more weeks till I get something that I would think would be as good as this. And this might not even be that good. That's
It's
the point.
really not that much better than
It's
the other
not
two,
that better.
Andy. It's really not.
Which is a lesson I learned when I watched the Grateful Dead movie, which I love the Grateful Dead, and you don't make fun of me. Oh, you don't care. The Grateful Dead movie, which I think is a
I like the Grateful Dead.
Why are you making fun of my voice like that? It sounds like you're mocking me.
You sound like you're mocking me.
Well, that's not nice, is it? I like the Grateful Dead.
I like the Grateful Dead.
Phil Lesh is a good bass player.
It's true.
Oh, I thought you were going to keep doing it. So in the Grateful Dead movie, they tell a story. Jerry Garcia said that he got in a big fight with Phil Lesh one night, and they threw each other down a flight of stairs or something like that. He goes, and we're tight because I thought the sound was bad. Later, they decided to use that concert on one of their albums.
Yeah.
So the point is, I took from there that you don't always know how things are by how you feel. These could be the greatest moments. This could be like Studs Terkel when he first did, revolutionizing the form.
Right.
But we don't know because we're involved in it. We're the Beatles. How do we know? And I only say we're the Beatles because Josh insists on using one microphone, which I think is so odd.
Well, we only have the one channel on
We're
this
not
tape
harmonizing,
recorder.
Josh.
I just don't.
That's not a good sign that on your first podcast, Josh says, I think we should cut back. Does it have to be stereo?
Right, exactly. It's not, unless I can feel cheek against my cheek, it's just that I don't feel like I'm connecting.
You're supposed to separate. I don't want to have sex with you after the podcast. Again. That's my running bit that people love.
Yeah.
Again.
That's what my wife said on my wedding night. I thought that was your running
Oh,
gag.
God, that's been working out so good.
Yeah.
Not really.
You said last week you were having really good sets. Is that still true?
It remains true because I don't think I've had a set since the last. Oh, I did have one set, and it was good.
Yeah?
It was very, very good.
What do you think is happening after all this time?
Well, I could be sincere and tell you what's happening. I think it's just a matter. I always tell people, give stand-up comedy 30 years and see if you're comfortable with
Right.
it.
So your sincerity meant this is because of therapy, right?
No, I had been having. Well, yes, everything is better because of therapy and antidepressants. So that's for sure. But I'm working on myself. All right. My getting funnier. Oh my God, that sounded terrible. But my feeling more comfortable on stage has been like a long, many, many years.
Right.
And then that's why I don't like to jinx it because I've been really feeling good. But if you think about it too much, you start to try and nail it down. So.
Right.
But I think it's time.
Good.
It's the amount of time I've done it. That's why it's so counterintuitive to any other art form where, I've made this argument a million times. You could be rock and roller. You're 18. You're angry. It's a perfect combination of anger and insight.
Right.
Whereas comedy, I just feel like it takes for me, it took a long time.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel, I always feel when you move from one plateau to another, kind of, when you break through and go, oh, I now have the ability.
Yes.
To, I have one extra level of fluidity now. I have one extra level of going from brain to mouth.
Yes.
Efficiently and tight, where I didn't quite have that freedom before.
Right. And I'm conscious, my brother, who's an investment banker, he goes on TV. He's unbelievable on TV. He actually took like a vocal class or something like that.
Yeah.
But he never stammers. It's like amazing. He doesn't say,
Right.
He doesn't. So I feel like the more we do this podcast and we will not say, as much. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm saying the more you get comfortable with any environment, then I think you can get better at it in general, if that's the technique you're working on.
Well, and I think that's the journey we're asking our listeners to go on with us.
Yeah.
Get in on the ground floor is what I'm saying. We're going to get good.
This is going to get good. You'll feel like you missed out if you stop listening.
Absolutely.
Well, the thing is, my first many years doing stand-up, I was nervous a lot.
Right.
I don't get that nervous anymore, which is good.
I was always probably too comfortable on stage in a way, and I still suffer from that kind of, I'm very conversational. So I find myself adjusting to the level of the room rather than being a leader sometimes.
Well, you might be more comfortable. It's like people sometimes think I'm comfortable with myself because I'll say anything sometimes, but a lot of times I'm saying it because I'm uncomfortable.
Well, I've always been more. I mean, I have my own social anxiety thing, so I've always been sort of more comfortable on stage than among people.
Oh, see, I just thought you were cool as a cucumber in social situations.
Depends on the level of Xanax in my system.
Oh.
What? Oh, now we talk about my psychosis. Ooh, all the air comes out of the room.
No, because I was, I didn't have a follow-up on it. But the thing is, some things trigger you to get panicky, right?
I don't get full on panicky, but I get anxious. I get like small talk, really. Just like cocktail party is about my worst situation.
And I agree with that because I feel like that's the most similar I can say to like when you first take acid, and it's like the movie. The scene had one word for you, plastics.
Yeah,
The Graduate. Where it's like that nightmarish thing where you're conscious of having a superficial conversation, and you're conscious that you're talking.
Yeah, and I also have a hard time with other conversations around me. I tend to, my ear gets pulled way too easy, and so then I'm not giving the person I'm like, I have to consciously focus my ass off when I'm at a party on the person who's right in front of my face.
Yeah, I think parties probably, if you wanted to judge how my therapy is, I'll go to a party once a year.
Yeah.
And see how comfortable I am.
Yeah, I'm better at it now. And in fact, Cinematic Titanic actually helped me because it was, we did meet and greets after every single show, and we'd have tons of people come through the line. And it's all small talk, So just meeting that many strangers, 400 strangers a night or whatever, I think desensitized me to it a little bit.
That's true, and it's also like the things at a stand-up. I don't like purposely now. Oh, it's a terrible gig. I'll take it. Like I try to take gigs that I think will work out. But I'm glad that I went through, in retrospect, all those years of struggling in weird. Situations.
It's a great skill to have. To be able to live through those things without dying. It's good sort of internal knowledge to have. Oh, this doesn't actually kill me.
Doesn't actually kill you.
It sucks.
If I like drinking, I know the drinking helps at a party because you just start to lose
to a point.
Oh, you think it can be? Yeah. But I do get sometimes very, very like self-conscious of myself.
Yeah, I just I don't feel good in that situation ever, and it's not. It's weird. I mean, I start I'll start flop sweating and
wow. I always see that. Let me see. I do realize though that my image of other people has always been that everybody is more well adjusted than me.
I think that's true of most people. Everyone.
Yeah, I think that's
everyone
true.
thinks that they're the weirdest.
Because how many times,
I think you're way weirder than me. Let's be honest.
No, that's true.
But I'm still way weirder than you think I am.
That's true. Well, the other thing is, I used to think that when people were quiet, that meant they were well adjusted. But if some people quiet, that means they could be a murderer.
True. Absolutely.
because I see myself in social situations, and I was like, I want to avoid that with other people because it's like to me, the quiet guy or the quiet lady, it's always the safer move to make in a social situation.
To be quiet.
Yeah, because
when in doubt, lay out. Absolutely.
When in doubt, lay out. Whereas with me, it's like after like an hour, like, is this guy ever going to stop?
Yes, there's no such thing as a nervous quiet with you.
Except when I first took antidepressants.
Oh, yeah?
I noticed.
Did it shut you down?
No. I noticed that I could sit at a restaurant with my comedy friends and not feel like I had to perform. It was an amazing feeling.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Like, oh.
So you're still that's what you're feeling on this show then, is what you're saying.
Now, if we were smart, we would end it near there, right?
We could end it near there.
I blew it, though. Well, no, we don't have to have an ending like, and that's because we're going to end up having a lot of departments. We're going to have mail.
Right. Well,
and when we start to do...
we'll
like
show the water skiing squirrel at the end of each thing.
And when we go down, like when we're going to be going down to like Red Onions to do remotes.
The live podcast at the Red Onion in Oxnard.
With loud music playing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if you're ready for that. If you're ready for all the perks. That's what I'm basically saying.
Well, what I'm saying is, people, come take this ride with us.
Yes.
We're going to go places.
Don't stick with us, and we'll stick with you unless you say something really mean online.
Right.
And I'll mute you.
Right. Can you block podcast downloads?
You mean you're going to stop someone from downloading the podcast? That would be terrible.
I'm not going to. I'm suspecting you're going to get there.
If you find any negative thing that I can do, I will eventually do it out of anger.
Right.
There's a thing now you can do where you can stop a person's from being visible to their family. Yes.
I'm in.
You're blocked. Now your family can't see you. Now you're sorry?
I win.
A slow electrical charge gets applied to this person's after blocking them, to this, like a tinnitus for 4 years.
Right. The block and haunt. If only there was a block and haunt button.
Well, I feel pretty good.
I'm feeling pretty good too.
How long have we done?
It doesn't matter. I'm not even going to look.
Oh.
If we feel good, then it's done.
Thank you, everybody. I want to thank you. I want to thank our sponsors. Edward, get it? Like it's an AA thing.
Aha. No.
And they say you can't do fake, like you're fake enjoying yourself. I think you can.
I can fake enjoy myself with the best of them, my friend.
You know what I said? You know when I last heard that?
I can even suffer fools gladly if I have to.
Do you know where I heard those last two things?
What?
From my wife on my wedding night.
Good night, everybody.